Right, we're back for the second hour of the Long Voyage for this week. And we are on to the next morning with... we are on to the next morning where people are once again awake and, mobile, having gotten a good night's rest and gotten a few hit points back for those who were... wounded. So, what do?
Badly injured. It's just a flesh wound.
Mm-hmm.
Well, were we supposed to meet with someone to discuss their animal problem?
That is true. They did say that they had significant trouble with animals attacking the village in great numbers, including at one point hyenas that don't even live close to this place. So that made them all stop and wonder what the hell was going on.
Right. And
you were supposed to meet with a man called Saki about that. He's the local boss, so to say.
Was he also the one we needed to meet with about the branches we needed to get?
Yes.
Then I think we should meet with Saki.
So, well, you were brought to the largest hut in the village, and by Injeri. She's the one who comes and gets you. And, she takes you there and leads you in, and there's a man sitting there wearing a red cloth wrapped around him as sort of a what's it called? Almost like it's not a toga, obviously, but it's something similar, really. And he looks up when you enter, and he smiles and beckons for you to please have a seat. And he says, "Well, welcome, and thank you for all the help you've given my community yesterday. I understand that we would probably have had many casualties if you had not been there to help."
It was really the least.
We are... Well, it's not the least for the people you saved, I can assure you, and we are most definitely indebted to you, but I fear that it might be necessary to ask you for your help in solving the problem once and for all. You see, we do have warriors in Samigbet, but not many. And when we are under attack the way we are, we can't very well send them out to search for an enemy that we don't really know where is.
No, that would be very dangerous.
Yes, we would leave ourselves completely undefended.
Ilva not understanding that situation.
But he says, I have an idea that our goals might align with one another, because I'm led to understand by Injeri here that you are in fact here to visit the old tree.
That's correct.
And to take 2 branches from it, am I correct?
Yes.
Well, that is certainly... I'm not going to get in the way of that, obviously. That's common practice for the priestesses of Tethman. Usually they don't send people quite as qualified as you. So I have no doubt that you're going to be capable of doing this, but I also know that the old tree is the strongest source of magic that I have ever seen or heard of. And somebody who controls animals and makes them attack us certainly knows magic.
That would be my assessment too.
Therefore, I think it's a good guess that whoever is doing this to us might be at the tree, or nearby at least.
That would make sense.
I hope that I'm not stepping out of line by asking you if you would help us.
Not at all.
Thank you.
You've been most generous. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you. We are not terribly rich people, but we will certainly make sure that there is some kind of reward for saving us if you succeed in this. I know that my people would feel honor bound to do so, and so would I, for that matter.
Well, we're headed there anyway. Might as well deal with the bastard while we're there.
Yes, whoever it is must have some kind of... I don't know why they're doing this to us. They must have some kind of hatred for us. I can't think of any reason why. Maybe you can learn.
You can't think of anyone who would have a reason. Any you banished or...
I don't think we've banished anyone from this village in all the time I've been alive. And it should be said, he doesn't look to be a young man in particular. He's probably in his mid-50s.
Yeah, okay.
So I can't think of anybody having been banished. I mean, obviously some people have left, and some have never come home. But it's always been, as far as I know, it's always been by choice.
Do these priestesses have any enemies?
Oh yes, plenty. It's possible, obviously, that whoever it is trying to control the tree. But then why attack us?
Because you're the stopping point before the tree.
That's a very good point. I hadn't actually considered that. Yes,
You provide access.
we do in fact provide access. That's a very good point. That may be the reason. But
But why would that be a thing? Because as far as I know, it's not actually prohibited to go to the tree.
No, but if someone wants to have the priestesses not have access to the tree,
Right.
Exactly. So, he says, I will make sure that you are taken to the tree. I'm certain Njeri would be happy to take you there. And she nods and says, absolutely, if I can be spared around the village, then I definitely will. And he says, we can spare one warrior, and you are the best we have. So I would like for you to go with them and show them the way. And she says, well, in that case, we should get provisions together. It's several days from here into the forest.
well, that sounds like a plan. Anything else we should prepare for?
The heat, more than anything. It gets stifling hot in amongst the trees.
Suri looks at his heavy armor and thinks to himself, well, that's going to be fun.
Yes.
Ilva also has the logo. Oh, great.
And it's already very, very hot where you are now, and which she seems to take in stride, so when she says it can be stifling hot in between the trees, you guys have no doubt that it will probably be boiling for people like you.
So we should bring plenty of water.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, goody.
She says that, and I know what fruits we can eat and which ones contain a lot of water and so on. So we will do that along the way to save what we carry.
Yeah, that's good.
Thordy looks to Ilva and says, "For once, I'd wish my magic allowed me to harness the cold winds of winter."
I wish it did too.
Frog, you just need to open your heart.
Oh, shut up, Guilty.
He's really
What's
started
wrong?
with the whole cackling thing there.
What's wrong with your voice?
Why are you being so weird, Gilfy?
I've always been like this. You'll never
Well-
know.
Maybe he grew up. He's married now, after all.
Yeah, I know, right? You youngins.
Wait a minute, we're here because of you, you little shit. She gives him a noogie.
Ah. God damn it! How dare you lay hands on a married man?
She stares at him, and then she noogies him even more.
No,
Saki actually chuckles at all of this. He thinks you're hilarious.
no.
I'm gonna make your hair completely messy. You're never gonna straighten it out again.
Keep it up until he goes bald.
But that will just create friction, and then he'll burn his hair off or something.
And Jerry actually looks at you when you say that you should keep it up until he goes bald. She looks at Frothy and says, "That would be a shame. He's quite pretty the way he is."
That's the problem.
Why is that a problem?
He's like, hey.
It got him married.
On accident. Because he got drunk.
Tethmem.
Right, let me guess. It was a man known as the Jackal.
Yes!
Mhm.
Yes. It's not the first time he's had people sent here in this way.
I figured.
If it's any consolation, it seems that he actually keeps his promise and gets you out of it afterwards.
After paying your way out of it, though, that's a very cheap way of getting out of it. If
It's
you
also
want,
a-
because it was very sad for the women,
Yes.
I would suggest that you kept both of them as a reminder to never do shit like that again.
I will not. They are not my property, thank you very much.
Exactly.
I do not intend to keep them. If they want to stay with me, they will stay with me. If they don't, they don't.
Are you sure to keep that promise?
Yes. Have
So
I
if one
ever
of them
lied?
say, I want to stay married and I want to go with you, you will do so.
Well, sure. Well,
And you're
it will
gonna
have to
keep
be
all
approved by
the
the
deeds.
captain.
That reminds me, I should talk to the captain.
You know, it
About-
will,
Get him up to date.
because if captain will not allow her on a ship, then she technically cannot come,
Oh, I'm sure
And I
he'll
am
allow
still
your wife on
oath-bound.
the ship.
and I am still technically oath-bound to the captain. So,
Do you think you're getting out of it that way? Don't worry, if she wants to come, I'll talk with Ulmer. I'm sure he'll let her come.
sure.
Always use... You could teach her the healing arts. I'm sure we could use another replacement for when we inevitably get enough of you.
And it will be nice with new blood in Southlands.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Right. I'm going to go and talk to the captain.
Captain?
Captain Orma.
Oh, right.
He's back at Tethnem.
So he flashes the ring he has.
Oh, right.
Oh,
you got
right!
you
I
got the
forgot all
ring.
about them.
So did I. Good thing that you remembered.
Yay!
It's just
I
like-
actually remembered something.
Yes.
Ilva just looks at it. Oh, right!
You have your
I
cell
forgot all
phone.
about them. Beep! Ulmer can't come to the phone right now.
Leave a message after the beep.
Beep!
So yeah, Thordy goes, excuses himself and goes outside,
Yes.
and then stares at the ring, trying to figure out how to use it.
Yeah. Well, you can feel the magic in it, so it's not that difficult to activate actually.
Also, Tierney did tell us how to use them.
Yeah.
Then he tries to remember and figures it out. Captain?
It takes a little while, and then there's a response. Ah, yes. Hello.
Hi, this is peculiar.
A little. The ring says.
We've arrived in what? How much did we tell you last time?
Well, that you were going there to try to get Gylfi out of his marriage situation.
Right. To do that, we need to get some magical branches from a magical tree. But the village is currently being attacked by someone who's using said magical tree to power their magics, so we might have to take care of that as well.
That sounds like... Yeah, that sounds quite reasonable, really. Magical tree, magical branches. This sounds like a children's adventure.
Well, you should write it down then. It's going to be the great adventures of Captain Ormer and his crew.
Oh, yes. Let's hope somebody remembers us.
Ormer and the magical tree.
Yeah. Well, I'm not there, you are. So, if anything, it'll be Frodi and the magical tree, won't it?
I like that. Well, just don't leave without us. It might take a while.
Right. Well, we shall do our best to, survive our stay in this very welcoming and wonderful city full of exotic wonders and beautiful women and excellent beer, which is it's a real chore. It's definitely it's awfully hard to but we will manage, and we will hold out until you get back.
That's mighty brave of you.
We think so as well. We think so. Frankly, I think the locals are the brave ones. Some of them have actually taken to Vebrander singing.
This place is so weird.
Yes.
Now
Be
I
careful
just
not to get married.
More marriages.
now I just imagine the three that has been here for a while going, are we going home yet? Are we going home yet? Are we going home yet? Are we going home yet?
Yes.
Right. So yeah, we're going into this boiling hot forest soon. I just wanted you to know what was going on.
Okay. Well, thank you, and we will, as I said, we will somehow manage to not get terribly bored in this place. Somehow, I can't imagine how we're gonna manage. And
I'll think of your brave sacrifice.
Yep. You do that, and we will definitely be praying for your safe return.
Thank you.
Beep. Yeah.
He shakes the ring a little. Like,
Turn off. Yeah.
yeah. Right. Have the others? Are they still inside?
Yes.
Then it makes sense to go back inside.
Yes.
I think Ilva will be asking a few questions about the attacks.
Of course, and they do their best to answer.
Like, how many are usually attacking, and what direction do they usually come from? And
They've come from different directions every time, but there's usually at least 10 beasts that attack at a time. That was problematic enough when they were hyenas. It was a disaster when they were the river horses.
oh right, those big lumpy things.
Yes.
I know they sound terrible, but I still want to see them because they sound like they don't actually exist.
They certainly do, and I think there's a good chance you may see one of them. And Jerry says, we need to follow the bank of the river for about half a day before turning into the forest, and we will get close to one of their breeding grounds. So there's a good chance you will see some of them there.
I mean, I'm sure some of the creatures we have will sound completely weird to you as well.
Probably. Animals are different all over the place.
Yep.
What kind of animals do you have?
Well, we have
At
big
this point,
cats.
sorry, at this point it should be said she's probably starting to lead you outside.
Yeah, she's following along while she's talking.
Yeah.
She might not be smart, but she's not as dumb as she needs to talk, then walk, then talk.
No,
then
no.
walk. Of course, putting a breathing session on once. She can do all three at once.
Yes.
She's a big girl.
Yes. No, it was just
Well,
to demonstrate that you weren't, necessarily staying in Saki's hut while all this was going on.
Well, she starts explaining about some of the most normal creatures they have.
Yeah. So, like bears and wolves and so on.
With the big ones and some of the very big ones and, stuff like that.
Yes.
And the ones that somewhat seem to like chickens, though they look kind of different because they're different species, obviously.
Obviously, yes.
Depending on where they're from, but yeah.
The chickens here are kind of small and thin compared to what you're used to. Your chickens are big, lumpy, fat things.
But they have to be to keep warm.
Yes. Which also means that the chickens around this place are really, really fast. Whereas you're used to, big, fat, lumpy things. So, but yeah, you get some provisions together, including plenty of water.
Yes.
Yes, and get ready to go.
While she's asking about the flora and fauna, because
Yeah, of course.
it's a good thing to know what not to touch.
Oh goodness, definitely, absolutely, and again, Jerry is more than happy to help, and she also says that obviously it's impossible to explain every single plant and animal before we go. It's a safe bet, she says, if you see some animal that is really brightly colored, don't go near it.
Why not?
Because when they're brightly colored, it's because they're telling things that might hunt them, I'm right over here, and if you try to eat me, you will die because I'm venomous.
Ah,
Bilba scratches her head. Yeah, I can't see that.
right. I'll keep an eye out for you. I'll try to.
Thank you.
He looks at what was her name again? Jerry?
Yes.
Ilva here can't see colors.
Oh. That's strange.
It's an injury.
Yeah, bashed my own head in. Was very embarrassing.
Ouch.
Especially coming from her.
At least I weren't as strong as I am now.
You would have been dead.
But what a swing it would have been.
No, she says and looks at Ilva with she's clearly impressed. And she says, your arms are about as thick as my thighs. I mean, you must be the strongest woman I have ever seen.
You should see some of my sisters.
You have many sisters?
It's a female warrior thing from where I'm from.
Oh,
We're called battle maidens.
maidens, so you don't have husbands.
No.
I see.
But we refer to each other as sisters.
Oh.
Because it's
I
like
see.
a sisterhood of some sort, where... Yeah.
I see. Okay.
And some of them, I'm nothing beside them. I
That
tell you.
that sounds
Whew.
frightening. That does sound frightening. I saw what you did to those crocodiles. Anybody stronger than that, man or woman, would be terrifying, to put it mildly.
And yet I'd love to spar with them. She looks a little dreamy. That would be a fight worth it all.
You seem
So-
to like fighting, she says. And
Well-
at this point, you've pretty much gathered up all the stuff you need. So she's
Yeah.
she's got a satchel that she's slinging over her shoulders, so she's ready to go.
One moment before we go.
Of course.
Sordi sits down and pulls out the bones.
All right. Good idea.
Let me just foresee how the journey's going to go.
So you throw the
Then-
bones.
Yes.
Excellent.
And if they land in the shape of a skull again, I'm going to be very, very...
They do. She takes
You're
a look
okay,
at that
Brody.
and says, "That looks ominous."
Very much, yes. I've only seen them do that... Well, before we went out here. Something's wrong.
Right. Very well. We
Why
shall-
can't you ever?
Sorry.
Why can't you ever have a good omen?
Well,
You're literally the worst.
well, if you think about
Hey.
it the right way, Gilfie, this is just warning of us danger, which is a good thing.
Eh.
It's basically just reminding us to look where we are stepping. Like a mom going, "Don't play with that thing; it'll kill you."
Phil, this is indecipherable.
And Jerry does look very impressed at all of you. You seem to be taking this kind of danger in very much in stride, which is clearly something she thinks is quite impressive.
I mean, considering our track record, it's just like
Exactly.
at this point, it's just like everyday thing.
Yes.
I think if Ilva notices and Jerry's look, she'll just go, "Oh, well, we're kind of used to it.
Yeah.
She says,
You grow numb to it after a while."
I think one day, I'm probably never going to do so, but I think one day I would very much like to see your homeland, because if you are like others from your home, it must be the most impressive place ever.
Actually, it's mostly the people impressive, because our cities are nothing like Tottenham.
Oh?
They're smaller and more rural.
Oh, I would imagine that big, strong people like you would make huge cities.
Not a lot of
Yeah,
us.
well,
Oh,
we would if we had the number to actually,
I
fill
see.
them up.
So there aren't many of your kind. Okay.
No, and resources are rather slim.
Ah,
We
yes.
don't have as much forest or crops every year. We only have a few months where they can actually grow. Otherwise, it's way too cold.
I see, and that means, of course, that you can't be as many because there isn't enough food.
There isn't enough food, no.
Also, I don't think you'd like it. Have you been cold before? You know,
Yeah, I have. I mean, some nights it can get cold.
as cold that your limbs start to freeze off if you are not protected against the weather.
Freeze? What does that mean?
Means they turn blue and fall off because they're so cold the blood cannot flow through them.
Her eyes go wide and she looks horrified. And she's like, "That can happen?"
Yes, I guess it's kind of like, well, if you get too hot, it's dangerous too.
Now I understand why you want to leave your home.
Oh, we love it.
You love
She
it
nods.
when bits of you freeze? Was that it? Freeze off?
Well, it might be dangerous, but this forest is dangerous too. It's just in another way.
I guess that's true. If you're
You
used
And
just
you've
have
grown
to-
up here, so to you it's normal. But it's probably still beautiful to you because this is what you saw as you were a little baby as well.
That's a very good point. And I mean, all of this is happening while you're walking, obviously.
Of course.
Of course.
Well, you just have to stay inside and put on a lot of clothes. Stay by the fire.
And it can actually be very nice, you know, bundling up inside, watching the snow fall outside, talking,
Snow?
playing games.
What's snow?
Yeah, when it gets very cold, the rainwater freezes. It becomes
So it turns
soft
blue?
but solid. No, it turns
Makes rid of
white.
light.
This is very
And it
confusing.
falls. Are there some kinds of puffball like the ones you blow on, like dandelions?
It sounds like your home is very strange, very dangerous, and very beautiful.
It is.
Yes.
Snowball
Imagine-
fights are the best.
Imagine the landscape stretching as far as your eye can see, completely covered in white, like little crystals shining in the sunlight everywhere.
That sounds amazing.
It is.
Over
go.
nudge.
That sounds like something I would like to see one day.
And walking on a lake that was before impossible to walk on, but now it's solid.
A solid lake?
That's what happens when it gets too cold.
This sounds like magic. She says it really does.
It does. But when I were home, I never thought there could be a forest like this.
Exactly. This is amazing.
She says and trips over something and falls face first into the forest ground.
Well, you're still
This place
walking
is
along the
full-
riverbank, so you're actually falling face first into mud.
Ow.
Gilfie has gotten
Man.
mean.
Yeah, he has. Well,
She
we
gets
do
up
have
again.
mud.
Oh well,
Mud we
at
do
least
have
it's
at home.
softer.
When you're about to get up, and Jerry puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Stay still."
Huh?
Stay still.
Okay.
And then she takes out a knife and throws it about 4 feet in front of you, and something in the mud wriggles, and then she quickly pulls you backwards and up towards your feet, so that you get out of range. And the mud keeps wriggling for a little while before it stops, and then she waits another moment, picks up her knife and the snake attached to it.
Is it
Oh,
brightly
what's
colored?
that?
Is it what? Sorry.
Is it brightly colored?
Yes, it is actually. It's just covered
It's a
in
living
mud.
belt.
That one's brightly colored, Ilva.
But it's very dead.
Yes. It would have bitten you if I didn't do that.
What is it?
It's a snake.
She pokes it. Oh, looks weird. Looks like a worm.
Looks like a belt.
Yeah, it kind of does look like a belt.
Can we make a belt out of it?
You probably could. She says we do use snakeskin for things. She shows you the grip of her spear. It's wrapped in snakeskin.
Nice.
They're kind of like those water logs that attacked you yesterday.
Yes.
Just without the legs. How? And less teeth. Ilva is shaking its mouth.
Yeah. Then she opens it. It's dead after all. So she presses on the side of the head until the jaw opens, and out comes these two massively long incisors.
Oh. Well, what a set of teeth, even though there are not that many.
And it has poison that it can eject through its teeth, she says. And then she
So-
presses a little bit behind just behind the head, and you can see these globs of liquid dripping out from the teeth.
Oh. I'm looking up
Nasty.
brightly colored belts from now on.
Yeah. And she
Snakes.
says less than half one of those droplets would kill even you.
Ah.
Sounds like something the hidden mist would want.
the
I
nest.
wonder.
It was a thing in the Lotus Empire. They were sneaky ones, and they used poison to kill people
Yeah.
covertly too.
He's like, Goofy just like leans in and looks at the fangs and like looks at the dripping thing. He's like, huh. I imagine you would use this on weapons and.
It's too dangerous to handle because it gets absorbed through the skin. In the
Ugh.
case, in the case of this one.
I mean, nothing that good gloves cannot help.
No, but most people don't want to risk it.
I can see why. If half a droplet can kill you.
We tend to use poison we find in plants.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Are the plants poisonous too?
Some of them.
Uh,
Don't worry.
she stares.
I know.
She stares at
I know
the
which ones, and at least the plants don't have teeth.
Don't go about
That you
eating
know,
stuff, Ilva.
Goofy's just still looking at the fangs and ponders like, huh. Huh.
You're looking mischievous again. Are there
Oh.
other kinds of belts? Oh, snakes.
Snakes. Yes, there are quite a lot actually. Some of them are very, very, very large. They're maybe 3 or 4 times as long as any of you are tall, and
Wow.
and thick like a small wooden log, and they can swallow a man whole.
That sounds cool.
It's pretty awful actually when you can see one of your friends squirming inside the belly of one of these things for a little while before he dies.
They don't
Suffocates.
kill them first.
Nope.
Messy eaters.
Some of them don't. Some of them squeeze you until every bone in your body shatters.
Ugh.
I have changed my mind. Ice Reavers seem like little kittens now.
Ice Reavers?
And
That's
those
exciting.
some our big predators back home.
Oh.
They're large, white, big teeth, big claws. She tries to, map one out in size.
Yes.
Probably about the size of greybacks, actually, if not bigger.
Yeah, they're bigger than them. An Ice Reaver is the size of a small horse. So,
Yeah. It's just a small horse, a little bigger of that, for like a cat thing.
Ooh, that does sound rather vicious, actually, she says, and looks worried.
They're quite
We
smart
have-
too.
We have cats in the forest here as well that are, large cats that hunt. They're dangerous too.
I don't imagine they're that big when they have to slink around the trees, are they?
Well, about the size of a person.
Oh. So life critters. Well, not critters, because that thing is small but deadly.
Yes.
Well, sounds like you have a lot of dangers here too.
We do, but we get used to them, so we know what to look for. I suppose it's difficult for you because you don't know the dangers we have, and if I ever visited your home, I would probably be dead within half an hour because or she doesn't use that word. I'd be dead within half a day because suddenly I would stumble into something that you would know to avoid, and I would probably not think was dangerous until it had killed me.
Ilva shakes her head. No, people don't have for customs to let people die. They would probably warn you.
That's good.
And we have you to warn us, so that's good.
That is excellent. And as you walk, at some point you actually do get to where she said you would get to, this place with where the ones she call river horses, where they are breeding, and you can see them. It's on the opposite side of the river, but you can see them quite clearly even from where you are. They are incredibly large, greyish, lumpy things. Yes.
Hippos.
Exactly, they're hippos.
Ilva stares. That does not look like a horse.
No,
Not at all.
no, it doesn't. But it's an
Kind of
old
looks
word.
like a shaved Vibrander on all fours. She juggles.
What is a Vibrander?
It's one of our boatmates. He's a very large man, very strong.
And lumpy.
Kinda. And imagine one of them's, makes the regular hippo growl, and she just continues, and he sings kinda like them too.
Oh, she's not wrong.
I mean, he sings so badly that he got a couple of women because he was brave to sing in public.
Oh dear, oh dear. That does sound awful. What can I say? People like brave men.
Yeah,
And women.
yeah.
Did you
Wait,
say
what?
this was their breeding ground?
Yes.
Won't they be protective of it then?
Yes, I don't suggest we linger here.
Alright. Let's leave the not looking quite as much as a horse river things to themselves
Yeah,
then.
you can also see a couple of them are slinking into the water and moving towards you, and they swim surprisingly fast.
Goodbye, lumpy ones.
Vroom.
It keeps walking like,
Yep.
They are just as deceptive in the water as the tree logs. I mean, crocodiles.
They are not. They are difficult to detect in
Yeah,
the
they
muddy-
have almost the same color as the water around
Exactly.
them.
Exactly. In free flowing water, they're very easily missed, and they're very swift. Even on land, they're quicker than you might think. They will
Yeah,
very easily outrun people.
I was surprised at how fast the crocodiles were on land, but as they were in the water, they deceptively looked like bark from a tree,
Yeah,
like a
they
log
do.
of tree just floating across.
Yeah, they do. That's how they hunt. They wait until something gets close to the water, not thinking they're in any danger, and then they attack.
Chop.
They will bite you and pull you into the water, tear you to pieces.
Yeah, I saw one of our boatmen got that.
Yes, I'm sorry
Thing.
about that.
He was a nice man, but there's no need dwelling on it.
No, there isn't. She but then again, you reach the place where she says that you need to turn into the forest, and she does so, and she doesn't walk. She makes sure that you all walk pretty close together, because obviously she doesn't want anyone falling behind and then spotting something interesting and getting killed.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
That's nice of her.
So she makes sure that the group stays pretty close together, and the rest of the day is basically one long exercise in. Ooh, what's that? Don't!
I guess that is extremely fitting when it comes to Ilva. Like, is that colorful? Ooh, what's that? Is that colorful?
Exactly.
Ooh, pretty flower. And
At
then,
some point-
don't touch it.
At some point, she does find pretty flower, and then it turns out to be an insect instead, with viciously horrible poison or something. But it's
Or one of the orchid praying mantis.
yeah.
The female version, like, ooh, what's that? Ah! Get it out of my face!
Yeah, yep. And the but so you see plenty of impressive things, and then as the afternoon passes and gets close to evening, she finds another lumpy thing, a huge lumpy thing lying on the ground. There are several of them lying there. In fact, she picks one of them up, looks very happy, and says, "Well, that's dinner taken care of."
What is it?
It's a fruit. We call it a meat fruit.
A meat fruit?
Yeah, because they taste a little like meat.
That's interesting.
What?
They're actually quite nice, she says. But we just need to find a place where we can camp.
What's... Well, I suppose animals might come here for the meat fruit.
Yes.
Wilma
Well-
still looks confused. Fruit
she-
that
she-
tastes like meat.
She knocks on the side of it, and it makes a sort of a hollow sound, and she's like, "Yep, this one is right."
But it sounded hollow.
It isn't, I promise. It's just the way they sound.
Okay.
And, but you find a place where you can camp, and she takes out a knife, and the same one that she used to kill the snake, and yes, she has cleaned it thoroughly. And then she carves up this fruit. It's got this warm yellow inside. The color of it is quite it's actually quite nice. It's got a lot of seeds in it. She tells you that you no need to eat those, so pick them out of the meat of the fruit. And then she carves out several pieces of it and hands it around.
Ilva sniffs it.
It doesn't smell of meat. It doesn't smell of much of anything. A little sweet, if anything.
Huh. Hey, Frody.
Hmm?
What color is it?
It's warm yellow. That was what you said, right?
Yes.
Cool. Well, not cool, warm. Still.
It's
She
not meat colored.
tentatively tastes it because this is weird.
It tastes nice, actually. It does taste a little bit of meat.
Why would a plant pretend to be meat? I don't understand this.
Maybe it wants to be eaten.
It's kind of like mushrooms. Mushrooms are like mushrooms are like nature's undecided thing. They don't know. They don't know if they want to be meat or if they want to be vegetables.
Clearly plants. They grow in the ground.
So
They don't walk around.
still, but they taste like meat if you make them right.
I suppose that's true. But this is quite nice as well.
Yeah.
There is, it should be said, there is actually such a fruit in real life. It's called a jackfruit.
Jackfruit.
You can try looking it up. It's very interesting. I saw a place where you could buy one in Copenhagen, actually. They're huge. They're enormous things.
Oh, interesting.
And they're supposed to be really very, very useful and quite tasty. It's supposed to taste a little like pulled pork.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking, is this some kind of melon or something?
So,
Nom 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 nom.
nom 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 nom. Yes, it's quite tasty and
Nom 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 nom.
nom 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 nom.
Nom 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 nom.
What just happened? Anyway,
Sorry.
no, it's fine. It's
Who
fine.
started it?
Yes.
No, actually, it was Rasmus who started it. Rasmus started it.
Num num.
And you're sitting there around the campfire and probably telling more stories, and because what else is there to do, and there's a lot of stuff to tell. You've seen a lot of things that she hasn't, of course, and she's super interested in all of it. And at one point she does ask you the obligatory question about who your sword is.
Oh, that's Gangaria,
Right,
Sword of the Wanderer.
right. And the Wanderer is one of your powers.
Yes. He's a patron of travelers, basically.
So you must be someone he likes, because you've traveled very far.
He's rather impartial, actually.
Okay.
But it's the man or power we usually pray to when we have a travel ahead of us.
Well, that makes sense. We have, well, not quite so. We don't have many powers here, but it sounds like you have a good few to choose between if you have one, even for travel. And it says something about your people that your sword is the sword of a power that protects travelers. It says something about how much you travel.
Well, most men actually have a season where they go out sailing. Raiding, actually.
Raiding. Oh, so they're like pirates.
Yes.
Yeah, you could call them that.
I see. Well, people attack and raid each other on land too.
Yeah, we mostly do it because we have to sustain life and get extra food and extra goods in. There is a lot we can't actually make ourselves
I see.
because it's too cold or we don't have the time for it or stuff like that.
Right. We have our sword is we think he's very, very brave, obviously, because he freed many of us. My people were freed by him from well, the sword that ruled these lands before him. He was a very cruel man who would have us every few years. Every village, they took turns, and every few years we had to send 1 or 2 young people to be sacrificed.
What?
Yes, it was either
Sounds
that,
like
or
a
he would
waste.
send the army and kill all of us. So lots were drawn.
Why?
Because his powers demanded it.
Okay,
That sounds like a waste.
it really does.
I think so too. Most people did, but he didn't care.
That's mostly unheard of in the Southlands, but I guess that's part of because, well, we're very few, we can't really spare people like that.
Exactly. It should be said that in ancient times, it's pretty well known that in the Southlands people would be sacrificed, but it hasn't been done for centuries.
And Ilva is not a historian.
Exactly.
She only knows what's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
And as far as she knows, people aren't just killed left and right because people can't actually be spared.
No.
Because we need all the
Yeah.
powers
The closest
to
thing you
help.
get, the closest thing you get to it is that a dying side maker may sacrifice him or herself to empower a magical item.
Yes,
That's the closest you get to it.
but then again, they are dying, so
Yes.
it's making use of their death anyway.
Yeah. So.
That-
Yes, that's the. That is the. What the evening passes with, obviously,
And of course, because she was asked, she is telling about or talking about Gangria.
yeah, of course, and she's super interested in hearing it, because this sounds like again like a very different and very impressive sword as far as she's concerned.
And talked about in a very warm glow.
That too, which is again of interest. She speaks of her own sword in a very respectful manner as well. And it is in fact this guy. He's and I think we're gonna
Isom.
yes, I think we're gonna have our second break here, and come back in a little bit with what happens the next day again.
Yes.